They kicked me out with one suitcase and a lie. 7 years later, I owned the building they were renting. My name is Zara, and I need you to stay with me because what happened next nobody saw coming, not even me. I was 22 years old when my father pointed at the front door and said, "Get out." No anger, no raised voice, like he was giving directions to a stranger, but here is what he did not know. 3 days before that night, I had already made a decision that would change everything. I grew up in a house with 2 daughters, my sister Maham and me. Maham was the chosen one, loud, confident, beautiful. My father introduced her at every gathering like she was a trophy he had won. My mother called her my heart without lowering her voice. And me, I was the one who held the door open for everyone else. I was not angry about it. I had learned early that invisible people see more than visible ones, and I was watching everything. When I was 18, I applied secretly to the best business university in the country. Merit scholarship, full funding, my name at the top of 300 applicants. I placed the letter on the dinner table one evening without saying anything. My father read it, put it down. He said, "Business, what will a girl do with business?" I said, "I am going," and I went. But what I did not tell anyone, what nobody knew, was that I had already started building something before I even left that house. Something small, something patient, something that would take 7 years to become what it became, but I am getting ahead of myself. University changed me, not dramatically, quietly. The way water changes stone. I studied hard. I interned at a real estate firm in my 2nd year, just basic work at first. Filing, calls, sitting in the back of meetings watching how money moved and where it went and why. My supervisor, Ms. Nadia, told me once, "You see things other people miss. That is rare, do not waste it." I did not waste it. Then in my final year, something happened that I did not expect. I received a letter, not from a university. Not from a firm, from a lawyer. It said that my maternal grandfather, a man I had met only twice in my life, had passed away and left something in his will specifically for me. Not for my parents, not for Maham, for me alone, a small amount. Not life-changing, but enough to start. I told nobody, not my parents, not Maham, not Ms. Nadia. I opened a separate account, deposited the money, and I waited. This is important, remember this moment. Because everything that came after began here. I graduated top of my class. Came home for 1 week. My father asked about marriage prospects. My mother cooked Maham's favorite dishes for my welcome dinner without realizing it. I went back to the city. 2 weeks later, Maham called crying. She said Baba had made a bad investment, lost a significant amount. Family was panicking. Come home, I came. I sat with my father and listened to everything. The failed partner, the money gone, the panic underneath his calm face. Then I opened my laptop. I showed him a commercial building, mid-sized, in a neighborhood most people still overlooked. But I had been watching this area for 8 months. A new infrastructure project was coming, a metro extension, a commercial zone approval that had not been announced publicly yet, but that I had found buried in municipal planning documents. That neighborhood was about to transform. And that building, currently undervalued and ignored, would be worth 3 to 4 times its price within 5 years. I had data, projections, comparisons, 40 minutes of careful, precise work. My father looked at my papers. Then he called Faraz, my brother-in-law, Maham's husband. Faraz walked in, glanced at my papers for less than 1 minute, said, "Too risky, looks optimistic." My father nodded, folded my papers, slid them back across the table. "We will find another way," he said. I picked up my papers. I went to my room. I sat on the edge of my childhood bed. I did not cry. What I felt was something quieter than crying. A door inside me closing, slowly, permanently. But here is what nobody at that table knew. 3 days earlier, before I even came home, I had already contacted a property lawyer. I had already begun the paperwork. I had already made an offer on that building using the inheritance money as the initial deposit. I did not need my father's approval. I never did. The next morning, everything collapsed. My father called me downstairs. My mother was on the sofa. Maham stood near the window. The atmosphere was wrong, tight and rehearsed, like everyone already knew their lines. My father said, "Zara, there is a serious problem." He placed a document on the table. I looked at it. It was a letter, on official legal letterhead, stating that there was an active investigation into financial fraud at my firm and that my name was mentioned as a person of interest. My blood went cold. I picked up the letter, read every word. Something was wrong with it immediately, but I could not place what. I said, "This is not real. My father said it has a signature, it has a case number. I said I have done nothing wrong. This needs to be verified. My father said I think you should leave until this is resolved. I looked at my mother. She looked at the floor, I looked at Maham. She was looking out the window, and right then in that exact moment I noticed something. Maham's hands, she was holding her phone, and on the screen just for 1 second before she turned it over I saw a name. Faraz, she was texting Faraz right now while this was happening. I stored that information somewhere quiet inside me, said nothing, went upstairs. I packed 1 suitcase, documents, laptop, degrees, the property paperwork for the building already signed, already filed, already mine. I came downstairs, walked past my father, past my mother who opened her mouth and closed it again, past Maham who still would not look at me. I picked up my suitcase and walked out. I did not look back, but I was not scared, because I already knew something they did not. That letter was fake, and I was going to prove it. And when I did, everything was going to unravel in a way nobody in that house was prepared for. The bus ride back to the city was 3 hours. I spent all 3 hours on my phone. First I called Ms. Nadia, told her everything. She said come back immediately. Then I called my lawyer, told him about the letter. He said send me a photo right now. I sent it. He called back in 11 minutes. He said, Zara, this document is fabricated. The case number does not exist. The signature belongs to an officer who retired 2 years ago. Whoever made this did not do their research carefully enough. I said, can we prove it? He said, already working on it. I put my phone down and looked out the bus window at the city coming closer. I thought about Maham's hands, Faraz's name on her screen, and I began to understand the shape of what had happened. Faraz was not just Maham's husband. He was also, I discovered over the following weeks, a man with a serious problem. After I left, my lawyer began tracing the fake letter. The legal letterhead had been created using a template purchased from a fraudulent document service. The payment trail, carefully hidden but not carefully enough, led to a shell email account, which led to a phone number, which led to a name, not Maham, Faraz, but why? That was the question that did not make sense at first. It made sense 3 weeks later, when my lawyer uncovered something else entirely. Faraz had known about my grandfather's inheritance. He had somehow accessed information, through Maham, probably without her fully understanding what she was sharing, about the money I had received and the property deal I was quietly building. He wanted that building. He had been watching the same neighborhood I was watching. He had done his own research, he knew what was coming, and he had realized too late that I had gotten there first, so he did the only thing he could think of. He removed me from the picture. He fabricated a legal document. Fed it to my father through Maham. Timed it perfectly with the family's financial panic so that nobody would question it too carefully. And it had almost worked. Almost. I did not go to my family immediately with this information. That is important. That was the hardest decision I have ever made. Every part of me wanted to call my father that same night, send him everything, watch the story collapse in real time, but I waited, because I had learned something important in 7 years of watching markets. Timing is everything. Move too early and you lose. Wait for the right moment and the outcome is completely different. I waited 11 months. In those 11 months I did 4 things. First, my lawyer built a complete legal file, every piece of evidence, documented, verified, airtight. Second, I completed the purchase of the building. Full ownership transferred to my name, Zara Malik, registered, official, done. Third, I developed the building, 6 commercial units, all occupied within 8 months. Rental income steady and growing every quarter. Fourth, I said nothing to my family. Complete silence. Let them live in the story Faraz had created. Let him feel safe. Then the right moment arrived. It arrived in the form of a rental application. Ms. Nadia brought it to my desk one evening with a careful expression. Unit 3 in my building, family application. The name at the top was Malik, my family name. I sat completely still. Ms. Nadia said quietly they applied through the public listing. Your name is not on the management documents, they have no idea. I looked at the application for a long time. Then I looked at the address they were coming from. A modest apartment in a part of the city I did not recognize. Far from the house with the garden. Far from the life that had looked so permanent. Something had happened to them in the past year. The financial problems had gotten worse. The comfortable house was gone. And Faraz, I noticed, was not on the application. Maham and Faraz's address was listed separately. Different area, different application, Something had happened there too. I approved my family's application, said nothing. Then I called my lawyer. Told him it is time. I chose a Sunday. I always think clearly on Sundays. I sent a message to my father. Simple, direct. I said I would like to meet. I have something important to share. Can I come to your home? He replied after 2 hours. Yes, I arrived at my own building, knocked on the door of Unit 3 like a visitor. My mother opened it. She was smaller than I remembered. Her eyes found my face immediately and stayed there. She held my face in both hands, said nothing for a long time. My father stood in the middle of the room. He stood straighter when I walked in, an old habit. We did not embrace, but he looked at me, really looked. Maham was not there. I had expected that. We sat down. My mother made tea. I let the quiet settle, then I placed 2 folders on the table. My father looked at them, then at me. I said, please open the first one. He opened it. Inside were the building documents, ownership records, rental accounts, everything I had built. His eyes moved slowly across each page. He reached the page with the building address. He looked up. I said, you have been renting from me for 4 months. Silence, complete silence. My mother's hand went to her mouth. I said, please open the second folder. He did. Inside was everything my lawyer had built. The fake legal letter, the traced payment, the shell account, the phone number, the name at the end of every thread. Faraz, my father read for a long time. His face changed slowly. The way a sky changes before a storm, gradually and then all at once. When he finished, he put the folder down very carefully, like it was something that might break. He said, how long have you known? I said, almost a year. He said, why did you wait? I said, because I needed it to be complete. I needed there to be no question, no room for doubt, no way for anyone to say I was wrong or mistaken or emotional. He was quiet for a long time. Then he said, Maham knew. I said, I think she knew parts of it. I do not think she understood the full picture. But she knew enough. Another silence. My mother was crying quietly, the kind of crying that has no performance in it. My father put his face in his hands. I watched him. This man who had pointed at a door and told me to leave, who had folded my papers and slid them back across the table, who had chosen a fake document over his own daughter's word. I waited. Then I reached across the table and put my hand on his arm. I said, I am not here to punish you. I am here because I spent my entire life waiting for you to see me. Really see me. And I needed you to understand exactly what you could not see. He lifted his face. His eyes were red. He said, I see you, Zara. I said, I know, I can tell. The legal case against Faraz moved quietly and quickly. My lawyer had built it too well for it to go any other way. Faraz did not contest it in the end. The consequences were professional and financial. He lost his business license. He lost a great deal more than that. Maham came to me 6 weeks after that Sunday. Alone, no phone, no prepared speech. She sat across from me and said, I did not know what he was doing. I shared information about you without understanding why he wanted it. When I found out the truth, I did not know how to tell anyone. I was ashamed and I was afraid and I stayed quiet and I am sorry. I looked at my sister for a long time. I said, I believe you. She said, just like that. I said, Maham. I have been carrying anger about this family for 7 years. I am tired of carrying things, so yes, just like that. She cried. I let her. It has been 2 years since that Sunday. My parents still live in Unit 3. I offered once to waive the rent. My father refused. He said paying it himself was the only honest thing he could do. I accepted that. Some Sundays I go there for dinner. My mother cooks. Sometimes Maham comes. We are learning slowly and carefully how to be a family, not the one we were, but something more honest. Something we are all choosing this time. Last Sunday I sat at their kitchen table and drank my mother's tea and looked out the window at the street below. And I thought about the girl who walked out of this building 7 years ago with one suitcase and a lie someone else had built for her. She had no safety net, no applause, no one watching. She built Ev and then she came home.